Hello there. My name's Grace. Welcome to my channel. So this year for 2020, one of my resolutions was to read the Bible cover to cover. Now, an issue I've always had with the Bible is that I get kind of through the Torah, stutter off at about Leviticus, and then I never make it fully through. So this year I wanted to try something a little bit different. I wanted to make myself a bit more accountable by making daily little diary things, I guess. So today, January the 1st, we are starting in Genesis 1 to 3. The purpose of me reading through the Bible cover to cover, I am looking for verses I guess I'd use on the street in evangelism. So verses proving the Trinitarian nature of God, the weight of sin, the forgiveness that's offered, that's, examples of that. So there's a couple of few things that I'm looking for, which I'd like to share with you guys. So Genesis 1 to 3. I have some points, but let's see how this goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and stuff like that. Alright, so first of the things that hit me is that this is a book for the Jews. This is clearly, Genesis in itself is literally the book of beginnings. That's what it's called. We believe this was collated by Moses, but who knows? So that's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just getting fluff off. I would say already in chapter 2, we're getting examples of the Trinity in nature. I'd say I would point to this verse, which is ooh, the sound of that, a Bible page flicking. And darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Spirit of God, interesting, very interesting. So already we're seeing parts of the Trinity in action, not in a separate way, but persons of the Trinity. That's what I was going for. Persons of the Trinity already being illustrated in the second verse. I would say, maybe someone can correct me on that, but I'm not a massive theologian. I just like little light reading, I would say. Then we're going to jump to 26. 26 was kind of the next one that kind of caught my eye. Then God said, "Let us make man." So that's quite interesting. Let us make man. Plural, if you will, if we've done a little bit of English right here. Let us make man in our image. And I've been on the street, and I've had a few different wild cults and stuff like that, but there's this one group of people who will often point to that verse, let us make man in our image, and then they're like, and then he made man and woman. They'll often point to that there is a feminine aspect to God that hasn't been revealed to us yet, but apparently according to these guys has. Now, normally I go with a rebuttal that yes, God does say let us make man in our image, but God then goes and makes man, and then it appears to be a little time there where man's just hanging out by himself, and then God creates woman from man. So in a sense, I would say that claim that just because God said let us make man, and then there's female and male, that means there's a female and male God, which is, I think it's a little bit ridiculous, but hey, let's keep going. 3:6. The succulent sound of paper passing over. 3:6. Oh yeah, this was a funny point that I made to myself. This is when Eve's being tempted, and she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Now, for some reason that was shocking to me, that Adam was there the whole time, but interesting thought for you guys. Hey, be diligent in all things, all matters. 3:12. What was my point for 3:12? 3:12. Okay, so man's just disobeyed God. This is the worst thing that could happen. God is like, why would you do that? And man's like, but it's her fault. Like, I think, I don't know, it was just kind of hilarious to me that mankind's first reaction while being, I'd say, in sin in that point, was to blame someone else. And that's a little bit like, oof, maybe I should try and avoid that a little bit. So, blaming other people, I mean. So, now we go to the next bit, 12:15. Now, some people talk about this as kind of the first proclamation, not exactly a proclamation, but a foreshadowing of the gospel. For example, I will put, between your offspring and her offspring, he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Now, because I have a lovely commentary Bible that talks about how, for this reason, it has been labeled the proto-evangelium. That is the first announcement of the gospel. While Genesis does not explicitly identify the serpent with Satan, that is clearly what the Apostle John understood. See Revelation 12:9-22. So it's talking about this. Some kind of, maybe something coming out of the woman's offspring that will bruise the serpent's head. So interesting thoughts there. 3:16. Oh yeah, this was a funny thing to me. I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. So I learned a fun fact today, that horses actually only have a labour of 15 minutes. And I was like, what? That is not fair. But because they're herd animals, they need to go pop, get it out and done very quick. So I wondered if that was a part of the curse of woman, in that sense, that maybe something was obviously made a lot more painful, but a lot longer. So 3:22 as well. Oh yes, another point that I'm pointing to in regards to illustrations of the Trinity in the first few chapters of the Bible. I like this one. And behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now, some could say it's a little bit different, but like one of us. Interesting thought. Now, a few other thoughts that I had of this. There's, of course, different illustrations of God, in a sense. You've got the Spirit of God. You've got a plurality of movement within the nature of God, in a sense. But there's still a firm commitment to a single God, one single being, one force that is illustrated as the Creator. Yet there is different, it's always difficult explaining Trinities because you don't want to fall into heresy. But you get my idea. The commentary talked about how the Hebrew word for Elohim, am I saying that correctly, is a plural, but the word, when it's talking about he created, it's a singular verb. So multiple in unison. Interesting. Another point I had to the side, work is not inherently sinful since Adam was working before the fall. So yes, we can complain about our 5 a.m. starts, but I don't think they were a direct cause of the fall. And yeah, that's all for now, I guess. Day 1. I'm going to leave it there.